surprise, fun, warmth. These are the attributes that best describe Kirby games according to its developers. And that certainly holds true in Kirby's most recent adventure, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This time, the Pink Puffball's planet has been wrecked by mysterious portals that popped out of nowhere, stranding Kirby and his friends on a brand new, never-before-seen planet. Unless you've played Crystal Shards, in which case you may recognize this dystopian world, overrun by beasts, as Planet Earth. Luckily, as Kirby ventures out into the unknown, finds treasures and defeats the bad guys, the Waddle Dees he rescues along the way will slowly rebuild the once prosperous Waddle Dee town, which is filled with helpful allies willing to aid you in any way they can. But just how helpful can they be? I'm Kyle with 1UP Binge, and this is Waddle Dee Town Townsfolk, useless to most useful. In this case, we'll be starting with the most useless and working our way up to the most useful. Sure, food and shelter are important, but so are the movies, were the first thoughts of the Waddle Dee at the bottom of the list. Usher Waddle Dee. And no, he's not a singer, instead he runs the cinema at Waddle Dee Town. And while I admire his dedication to his job, he really doesn't offer much in the way of stopping the Beast Pack or helping find a way home. Instead, offering the players the opportunity to sit back for a bit and rewatch some of the game's cutscenes. Now, don't get me wrong, seeing Kirby's shocked face once or twice is pretty funny, but I think saving the world might have a bit of a priority in my book. Kirby games are known for having outstanding soundtracks, and the next spot on our list is dedicated to the Deedly Dees, who technically are 4 Waddle Dees, but play any song you choose like one. However, to get their band to liven up the town, you'll first have to make a donation of 1,000 coins, plus 2,000 more if you want their entire repertoire. And as much as I like to hear them play Meta Knight's theme over and over again, 3,000 coins is a bit too much for me. Moving on to the Cafe Manager Waddle Dee. The cafe is a building you can unlock after gathering 60 Waddle Dees, and with so many new faces in town, hunger is bound to happen. Fortunately, the cafe has you covered, which is what I would say if it had more than 2 employees. Because these poor guys have to be exhausted working all day like this. Which is why, as the righteous hero you are, you can offer your help to the manager and take over for a day in one of 3 gigs of scaling difficulty and pay. That said, it seems Waddle Dees have copied a bit too well their predecessors in this new world, as you'll be offered dirt cheap wages for facing an onslaught of impatient clients, who will get mad at you for not getting their order right in a few seconds. In our next spot, we have a Waddle Dee who's a bit of a fan for hidden gems, as Game Shop Waddle Dee offers you the chance to win prizes in a short series of minigames called Tilt and Roll Kirby. I assume for copyright reasons because the Nintendo ninjas are just as fierce in Kirby's world as they are in ours. For any old-timer in the Kirby series, you'll recognize these games as a sort of reboot for Kirby's Tilt and Tumble for the Game Boy, but much harder given the lack of a jump, and especially difficult are those secret stages you get after beating the initial 3. They'll make a vein pop right out of your forehead. For all your troubles though, the pay is at least better than what the cafe offers, and with much less time in between rewards if you manage to somehow get good, which is actually quite the challenge. Our next Waddle Dee is in charge of correspondence, and never messes up your package. He's the sole employee, as far as we know, of Waddle Deliveries, aptly named Delivery Waddle Dee. This Waddle Dee has a very simple job. You use one of the many present codes scattered throughout both the town and Nintendo social media, like Thank You Meta Knight, and receive a bunch of goodies delivered right to your door, neatly packaged and all. And unlike previous Waddle Dees, to get your rewards, there's no big challenge in the way, aside from grammar of course. The only thing keeping this little guy from being higher on our list is the present codes are limited and can expire. But maybe in the future, he might just have to be put higher up. Come to think about it, how does he deliver your packages? He never moves, he just appears out of thin air. This next Waddle Dee on the list practically announces himself. It's Commentator Waddle Dee, the main brain behind organizing the different cups for the arena, and a big fan of Kirby. He'll support you constantly by reassuring you about the next fight, or tell you how great you were on the last match. But that's not all, because if you pay close attention to his words, he's actually helping you. More experienced players might not need this, but for someone who's just getting used to the game, it might just give them the edge they need to win a fight. Of course, he can't commentate or assist you with tips on that last cup, but by the time you get there, you're already a master of the game. And let's not forget that he gives out lots of rare gems and coins for your other town activities. And speaking of town activities, this next Waddle Dee might not seem as useful if you're not trying to 100% the game, But if you are, Trader Waddle Dee might just be able to help you out with arguably the worst one of them all. The dreaded Gotcha Machine. That's right, this one requires no skill whatsoever. It's just pure luck if you'll get the figure you want or not. And if your luck is as good as ours, you might be dreading this task already. That said, Trader Waddle Dee might just change your luck, because for the price of a single rare gem, he'll give you a figure you don't already have. And if you collected a bunch of them from the arena, you'll have all 4 collections done in no time. Have you ever found yourself running low on HP after or right before a boss battle? Maybe you went through a rough level, and that's okay because Cafe Staff Waddle Dee has you covered. And for some very cheap and affordable prices, you can buy from him a series of healing items. But of course, you'll mostly be getting that sweet, sweet maximum tomato to fully restore your health. Although there is a service that essentially does this but way better, but we'll mention that in a minute. Next up, Waddle Dees are known for their loyalty to King Dedede, and while a particular one comes to mind when thinking about Dedede's army, this spot is for Minion Waddle Dee, which is the one you see falling over and getting left behind when Kirby and company are making their escape towards Lab Discovera. That is, until King Dedede himself chooses to save him and stop the Beast Pack, giving Kirby and the others a chance to make their escape in the elevator. Now, this Waddle Dee in particular doesn't do much himself. However, he serves as King Dedede's interpreter when he's a bit too lazy to talk, or embarrassed to show his emotions. Also, he gives you the blueprint required to make the Masked Hammer, one of the 2 strongest copy abilities in the whole game, and a very useful tool to take down the bigger and badder bosses that the Forgo Isles has to offer. You know what sucks? Going through a level and getting every Waddle Dee except one. Or maybe you go through a bunch of levels and start thinking, hey, did I miss a blueprint for this ability? I haven't seen one in a while. Well, you can rest easy knowing that Wise Waddle Dee has got exactly the information you're looking for. With a flip of his magical encyclopedia, he can tell you exactly where in a level you may have missed either one. And if you feel extra competitive, he'll even give you world records from other players to beat in any of the town's activities. Our bronze medal for Best Waddle Dee goes to King Dedede's right hand, his most loyal subject and companion since 1996, Bandana Dee. This Waddle Dee actually has a fighting spirit and will form a powerful ally if you give a controller to a second player, sporting both melee and ranged attacks, and packing a real punch. Bandana Dee will help turn any battle into a massacre, and help you cut through levels in just a few minutes. But when he's not helping Kirby out in the field, he helps Meta Knight defend the town, and can remind Kirby of what his current goal is if he forgets. The silver medal for Best Waddle Dee goes to the Item Shop Waddle Dee, who you will unlock around the midpoint of the story if you've been diligent with finding Waddle Dees along the way. And what he offers you in exchange for some very low prices are 3 items that can completely break the game. There's the Speed Boost, which will make you run faster, the Life Up, which will double your health, and most importantly, the Attack Boost, which can let you do insane amounts of damage. But what's more, these can all be used at once, and attack and speed boosts can be stacked to increase their duration time, which is really game-breaking stuff. And finally, the gold medal for Best Most Useful Waddle Dee goes to the Weapon Shop Waddle Dee. This guy not only gives you unlimited access to any copy abilities you get along the game, but you can also make them evolve into much more powerful forms. And what's more, at a certain point in the game, you'll get the option to power up an ability even further, turning some into massive damage dealers, like the Toy Hammer, and making some insane ones even more insane, so no ability ever feels underpowered or useless. And that's why this Waddle Dee deserves so much respect. But let us know in the comments section if you agree with our ranking, and tell us what we should cover next. And if you need a 1-up, make sure to hit that notification bell and binge our other Kirby in the Forgotten Land videos, including our Good to Evil. Thanks for watching.